Jolie,
Hi,
how's it going?
going great.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, as you know, this is the Bridge Healing Miracles podcast. You were a guest and just actually knocked it out of the park. So I love to hear stories from people like you. And the most important thing is that we get the message out there that there is a place or multiple places maybe, but the bridge is one of those places where you can reconstruct and put those pieces back together that become tricky as a human sometimes. I've certainly had mine. My puzzle hasn't been thrilling to assemble. And but it's assemblable. I don't even think that's a word, but I think the hope is we get the word out and have people know, yeah, you can be kind of messy and you can figure it out and you can put things together. And so I just would love to hear a bit about your story, and you can tell everybody out there about your story. And yeah, I'm just interested to see how Jolie's doing.
Sure. So I sought the bridge out. I'd struggled with chronic anxiety. I mean, at least a decade, maybe longer, to the point where I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. I also had some postpartum depression that I had battled after my son, and that kind of lingered. And I was seeing a psychiatrist, a therapist on Prozac or similar medications, doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do without getting relief. So I found the bridge through some internet searches. And what I was really looking for was a place to go and heal, right? And not just band aid, because I felt like I was just going around the problem. I was having really, really bad sleep issues, which were worsening my day to day anxiety. And so it hit ahead and going to Utah, knowing no one, was a little scary, but it was to that point, right? I mean, it was to the point where you're going, this isn't working, what I'm doing, and I don't want to live like this. There's got to be more to life. Um, and so found the bridge. They mentioned on the website, or y'all mentioned on the website, that it was, anxiety disorders. I had dealt with a little bit of chronic pain as well when it came to endometriosis and things like that. So chronic pain was also mentioned. So I really had no idea what I was going to. But quickly meeting the staff and meeting everybody, I felt really comfortable. Also, it was not a lockdown facility like a lot of places I had looked up. Seemed to be 30-day lockdown, no phone, and I really wasn't comfortable with that. So finding the bridge, and it was kind of like just being in a different home, right? Like you had your privacy, you had the ability to jump on your phone anytime you wanted. And so really just that freedom to be an adult, a high functioning adult, and get better. And so within the first couple of days, I knew I'd made the right choice because meeting Dr. Brooks, yourself, and Dr. Tate, I knew I was around people who were highly clinically skilled, right? Knew the science behind what was going on, but as well as were compassionate, and then to hit the problem with a lot of different solutions instead of one. Learned about yoga, learned about body mind connection, learned about diet, learned about really letting go and understanding my problem instead of going around it or over it, right? Was probably, I think, the most beneficial thing. All of a sudden I sleep fine. Like it's the by the way, like I don't even think I've told you that, but like I literally just go to sleep at night. And I have not had that luxury or even knew that was a luxury until the bridge. So with the tools I've learned to accept, not become my anxiety, right? I learned that it is just a part of life. It's not who I am, and it doesn't have to, I don't have to suffer this way through many, many tools at the bridge. So that's where I am. And I'm off medications. I don't see the psychiatrist anymore. I utilize many of the tools every day. And yeah, so I feel a lot better.
I love it. I love it. So tell me, oh, I don't know. So tell me what it was that, because you were still functioning at home, you're doing okay. You're kind of slogging through, right? So
Yeah.
what was it that you, and it doesn't have to be even personal, but at what point did you decide, look, I'm not going to put this puzzle together on my own. Like I need something else. Was there a catalyst, or was there something that kind of pushed you into making a phone call, or what was going on there?
I think it was one night I was just so anxious, like I couldn't get recurring thoughts out of my head or intrusive thoughts. And wasn't engaging with my son. I was just kind of would go in a room and be by myself and read or distract myself. And um yeah, and I got to think like, okay, he's my only child. He's 3. I'm basically becoming an absent mom, right? I'm just avoiding. And that's when I knew when he was kind of like, no, mommy, bye. Like almost like he was choosing my husband over me. And I was like, well, maybe that's a sign, right? That I'm not fully present, even when I'm here. Like even when I'm home, which I'm home a lot, I just obviously wasn't fully present. And the innocence of a child too, they see a lot, they observe a lot that we don't even realize that they notice. So it was probably my son just noticing that I wasn't mentally present was the catalyst for sure.
Those little kids, the honesty, when I was when I was a lot heavier, I had a little toddler come up and poke me in the stomach. I just out in public, and he goes, "Mister, what's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez." And the mom was mortified, but it's really
What's
fun.
under your shirt?
So it's sometimes it does take a child and that innocence. I think that's really cool. I mean, super profound. And then so come through the program, bust your butt. You did excellent. I mean, just the model guest. You could work at the bridge, seriously, Jolie. You could literally classes. So going home, what's that like? I mean, because for me, when I was recovering, I'm like, yeah, but what happens afterwards? I was so insecure. So you've gone home, here's your family, your job, like all that just fires right up again. How did those tools integrate, or were there some challenges there? What happened?
A couple challenges. I'd say the first week I was struggling just because it was, yeah, I'm back home. I'm not in beautiful Utah. I'm not going on hikes. Nobody's cooking for me. I'm not getting massages every day. So yeah, so that was a little bit of a struggle. But I took one of the lectures was about Zen and creating a space. And so I did that. In my room, I'd kind of built up a little area where I could put the books I had, candles, really like a meditation prayer space because I am Catholic and that is a pretty big thing I like to do. So just creating a space, reminding myself that I'm not alone. Millions of people suffer with anxiety or have suffered with anxiety. And then knowing the people I met at the bridge. So we still talk every week. Some of the guests, we have a Zoom on Monday nights. That's kind of our meditation Zoom, and we catch up. And then transparency. I can't say that enough for people who are suffering that, once you talk about it, it's like this big weight lifted off your shoulders. So I had no trouble telling my friends, I went for treatment or talking to my husband about it or even my family. And if they didn't want to hear, they didn't want to hear. But for people would go, well, what did you do? What's going on? And I would tell them. And that was helpful to go, to remind myself I am in recovery, right? This isn't a one hit wonder.
Right.
I do have to work for it. And so talking about it to other people who were and were not at the bridge was huge because then I reminded myself of the tools and, physically having the space to see it every morning. This is my notebook. This is my journal. This is what I need to do and creating that habit. And, when I do a lot of primary care and weight loss and lifestyle medicine. And I tell my patients that it takes 28 days to make a habit. I go like, why do you think rehab's 28 days? Right.
Right.
As a joke, but I'm trying to get them to eat better. I'm trying to get them to move more, and creating small habits. And I wasn't doing the advice I was giving patients. Right. Like I knew it, but I wasn't practicing it.
Yeah, been there, right? I
Yeah.
think it's so interesting to be a human. I mean, even when you're a provider, if you're preaching these really precise principles, you've got to kind of acknowledge a little bit hypocrisy. I mean, there's
Mhm.
just no one that perfectly aligned. But what I've learned, and I know what you've learned as well, is that the closer you get to those, the results get just better and better and better. So even though we can't talk about perfection, we just can't, but we can talk about just drastic improvement. I mean, that is worth talking about, and that's very possible. So yeah, it's so fun. And I want to tell everybody out there too. I mean, your attitude coming in, and I can't say this enough. a good attitude and a hopeful attitude and a belief that you are able to improve is so important. And you came in just blazing, like, let's go, like, I'm ready, come on, I've only got 3 weeks, chop chop, that
Yeah,
that
let's
was
do
so
it.
that was so fun to hear, because some people, they drag in there and they finally kind of come to their senses after 4 or 5 days. But Julie, it was so fun for you to just to rip in there and just get hustling. It was a great experience to have you there.
Thank you. And spending the money, like for people out there listening, like you're investing in yourself. So that was not a second thought that I'm going all in, right? Because the whole point of me taking 3 weeks off of my job, not with my family, investing in my health, like what's the other option? I know that procrastination doesn't work. I've been there, done that. I know that avoiding doesn't work. I've been there, done that. So, when you do go, yeah, to any program, including this one, it's putting your money where your mouth is, literally.
Yeah, no, nice work. So I appreciate you taking some time. If there's anything else you want to say, or maybe somebody's out there right now wondering, I can't take the time off. I got a little one at home. I've got a marriage, a job, like 3 weeks is forever. Like, any advice you could give to somebody just on the fence about making a leap like that.
Sure. Yeah. Cause that was my thing. 3 weeks. But it dawned on me that 3 weeks is going to pass regardless, right? 3 weeks is going to be 3 weeks, whether I like it or not. And what have I been doing with the time I have? Not much productive. I mean, sure, I was high functioning. I had a job and a marriage and a family, but I was obviously missing a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And, in the grand scheme of things, like hopefully I have more than 3 weeks left in life, but like in the grand scheme of things, 3 weeks is a blink of an eye. I mean, it just really, a year is a blink of an eye. Honestly, time passes so fast, and 3 weeks is gonna go by regardless. And especially with a little kid, for any moms or dads that are going, well, that's a long time. Well, what you get out of it, hopefully the next 3 years is going to be beneficial for your kids, right? Even though you're sacrificing 3 weeks, and especially the small ones. I don't think my son noticed. Like, luckily with technology, we FaceTimed multiple times a day. And he just had so much fun with his grandparents. And I really tried to talk to my family and say, this is what I'm doing. I really need your help, and being transparent to my support system was probably huge, and why I went, because I knew that my son had care and he had people who loved him, and in blink of an eye, mommy's home. And that's how it was.
Awesome.
He thought I was on Mars, by the way, because I don't know if I told you the story, but I would FaceTime him all the time, including some hikes and all the red rocks. And so
Mm.
he was learning about space and things like that. And so he sees red dirt, he sees red rocks, and he goes, Mommy, you on Mars? What are you doing on Mars? The little toddler voice they have. And it was just the funniest thing. Like, and I brought him back some rocks, some red rocks, some dirt. And so now he thinks he just has dirt from Mars. So yeah, so mommy went to Mars, basically.
Oh, how fun. Well, the bridge is kind of another planet, so that's good.
Yeah.
Um,
And I will say, the support staff, besides the providers, even just having Jen and Donna and Corbin, the Brad, the core staff, just to know that they're a phone call away, for anything you need, or literally in the same room most of the time, for anything you need. It was super helpful, and having all of y'all's numbers, available to just know that you were there for 3 weeks, but you were taken care of, in a homey environment, not clinical, all of that. And so that to me was really helpful, because you're getting everything. You're getting the kitchen sink thrown at you in a good way, right? Not one size fits all. And you just have all the support at the same time. So it's great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate taking some time out of your busy day. Thanks for putting some hope out there. Let some people know that real people do come and go, and they recover and reconcile. And please keep in touch. If you're ever out here with your tribe, we would love to have you, and I'd put you on the schedule and make you lecture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If I'm ever in St. George, I'll pop on in.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. I sure appreciate you.
No problem.
Have a great night out there.
You too.
Yeah. Bye.